even though it isn't talked about much, being freaked out about the idea of breastfeeding is really, really normal. But again, you don't hear about that very much because kind of the script is like breastfeeding is the most natural thing in the world and it's so healthy for your baby. And it is. It's healthy, so good for our babies, which is why so many women, push through and decide to breastfeed. But they're like, oh, it's always so natural. That's not always true. Sometimes it feels really unnatural, at least in the beginning. And so if you try breastfeeding and you find that it's just not a good fit for your family, of course you can stop. There's no shame in that. But for a lot of women, what's causing the resistance towards breastfeeding are really common breastfeeding fear sources. That's what I like to call them. And the cool thing is these fears can be unraveled and healed so you can get to a place where breastfeeding does feel natural and it feels exciting and good. So hopefully I can help you get to that place. And if not, no worries if you need to stop. Okay, so one of the first things that can cause resistance towards breastfeeding is the shift that happens in your relationship to your breasts. So especially in this culture, in the United States, breasts are typically sexualized, right? As soon as a woman develops breasts, they're looked at and thought of usually in a sexual nature. So it can feel really weird to have a little human that is our offspring suddenly sucking on this area of our body that we've always thought of as sexual. It can mess with the mind. And I have another video that will be coming out that dives specifically into this issue. So I'll unravel it even more. But yeah, so that is one of the issues that come up with breastfeeding, and I'll provide tools for how to work through that. One of the other fear sources is the possibility of not producing enough milk. This is actually something that you hear about more, women saying, I wanted to breastfeed, but I just couldn't make milk. So understandably that can feel scary. That can make you feel like I'll feel like a total failure if I try to feed my baby and my body is not capable of producing milk like other women. So there is the potential of not being able to produce enough milk because of things like excessive blood loss during childbirth, limited milk ducts, hormonal changes, various medications and herbs. And while this, of course, can be really frustrating, a lactation consultant is usually able to help you look at your life circumstances and figure out what's going on. Why aren't you able to produce enough milk? And in many cases, help to provide the tools to increase your milk supply. So there are ways to improve that situation. And it's also good to know that the only way to confirm that you're not producing enough milk is your baby's weight. So for example, if you're pumping or you just feel like your baby's not really eating that much, that's not really an indicator of how much milk you're producing. So the pediatrician is really the person that will help you determine if baby is eating enough based on how much weight they're gaining. Okay, pain from cracked nipples. Oh man, I can resonate with this one. In the first 2 weeks of my son's life, I had like bloody cracked nipples. It was like mind-bending pain when my son would breastfeed. I couldn't wear a shirt. It was awful. And I was really naive. I thought, I guess this is just how it's supposed to be. So I never called a lactation consultant. I never asked for help. And what I realized later is that my son had a really shallow latch in the beginning. And that's what caused the extreme pain in my nipples. After about 2 weeks, they toughened up, or my son might have just improved his latch, or probably a combination of both. And it was fine from that point forward, but I didn't have to suffer. Other women do not have to suffer. Hiring a lactation consultant can help you figure out what the issue is, what's causing the pain, and hopefully fix the problem. Okay, Something else that can block women when it comes to breastfeeding is the idea of your newborn being completely dependent on you for sustenance. It can be really overwhelming having this like small defenseless human that requires you clean their butt, you bathe them, you feed them, you essentially help them discover how to sleep, you protect them from the dangers of the world. It's overwhelming. And the thing is, with almost all those tasks, you can have other people help you with them, like your partner, your mother, a friend. They can help with the diaper changes, with the bathing, yada, yada, yada. They can help with everything but the breastfeeding, right? Even if you are planning on having, your partner or whomever give the baby bottles of breast milk, you still have to pump that breast milk, right? So that is a lot. And I felt buried by that responsibility, at least in the first 6 months of my son's life before he could eat solid foods. I felt like it is 100% up to my body to create this sustenance, and it was overwhelming. And while, if you're choosing to breastfeed, there's really no way for the baby to become less dependent on you unless you choose to formula feed, which is fine. So for me, what helped is to try to look at the positives of that really intense need that my baby had for me. So one of them was the oxytocin that is released when you breastfeed. And this is known as like the love hormone. And this is what helps to create that bond between you and the baby. It would make me feel high while I was breastfeeding. It was awesome. And there was a study published in the International Journal of Psychiatry and Medicine that found that breastfeeding can actually reduce a woman's chances of developing postpartum depression during the first few months of the baby's life. Of course, it's not a panacea. It does not guarantee that you won't get postpartum depression, but it can help. And I also realized, all right, like even though it's a lot, breastfeeding is probably going to help me like foster a really deep connection with my son. And it did. It was a really beautiful connection that we had, and I miss it now. So the gist, it can be overwhelming to be the sole source of food for your baby, but there are a lot of benefits in it as well. And I recommend focusing on those benefits. Okay, others seeing your boobs. Going back to our breasts being sexualized, right? We've spent our entire lives feeling like other people shouldn't see my breasts, and now suddenly we're having to pull them out all the time. I never thought I would be so comfortable with my brothers, my father-in-law, my dad, my brothers-in-law. There's a lot of men in our family seeing my boobs all the time, because for me, I just couldn't be bothered to have like the cover-ups and to go to a different location when my son was hungry. I was just like too tired. So everybody got to see my boobs. And for me, it didn't really bother me. I just got comfortable with it. Nobody else bugged me about it. Even when I was in public, I'm lucky that I never had a stranger try to shame me for that. If they had, I feel like I would have had an earful for them. But with that said, you have the right to choose if you do use a cover-up, if when your baby is breastfeeding, you choose to go to a private space or use one of the breastfeeding pods that are popping up all over the place, which is so cool. So to realize that you have options, but to also realize that you might think initially that it would bother you to have your breasts out to feed your baby. But if you try that out, when your baby's actually here, you might find, you know what, it doesn't really bother me and other people don't seem to be affected. So that feeling might change. But if it doesn't, again, you have options. Okay, another fear is becoming nutritionally depleted. So as breast milk is made from your body, it can absolutely deplete your reserves of water, of nutrients. Typically, a breastfeeding mother needs an additional 500 calories a day, preferably of nutrient-rich food. And so much like during pregnancy, with breastfeeding, your body takes whatever it needs to create nutritious milk for your baby. And this can leave you completely drained. It's called postnatal depletion. It can leave you totally drained if you're not regularly restoring the water, the nutrients in your body. So you can maintain your vitality by drinking lots of water, having lots of healthy food. I have a more specific tip about that in a moment. Okay, so I've already talked a little bit about what to do, but here are some more specific tips to alleviate a lot of those breastfeeding fears, to make it a more comfortable experience for you. So my number one tip is, and I know I've already said this a few times, is to hire a lactation consultant. They are specifically trained to make the breastfeeding journey easier for you. They can answer all your questions, help with baby's latch. I really, really recommend utilizing their expertise. And they're not all the same. So you can also interview a few different lactation consultants until you find one that you feel comfortable with. Because of course it is a vulnerable situation, you know, having somebody watch you breastfeed and give you tips. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable and trusting of that person. Joining a support group. It can be amazing to go to a support group and hear that so many other women have the same concerns and struggles as you. It can help you feel so much less alone, and to get really helpful tips from women that have been there and are going through the same things. You can soothe pain from cracked, sore nipples by expressing a little bit of breast milk. So all you need to do to express some breast milk is kind of press on your breast around your nipples and some milk should come out. Leave your top off, just allow, kind of like dab the milk on the nipples, allow it to dry, go topless for a little bit so it can really soak in. Breast milk has amazing healing properties, and from my experience, breast milk was even better than all of the different salves and whatnot that you have to buy for the nipples. Use the breast milk, it's free. Okay, have access to healthy snacks. So think about the areas where you typically breastfeed and keep a little, this is what I did, keep a bag of nutritious food, non-perishables, obviously. Or things that don't need to be refrigerated. You can absolutely keep some fruit like apples and whatnot in the bag to make sure that when you sit down to breastfeed, you don't realize, oh my God, I'm like suddenly starving. You also want to have a big reusable water bottle that's full right by your side when you're breastfeeding so you can replenish. You can hydrate, you can eat. And at least for me, oh my God, the meals that I would have like during or after breastfeeding were so satisfying because I was just like ravenous, and the baby's sucking out those calories anyways. So, all right, last thing, if you just start to feel totally overwhelmed by breastfeeding, you're ready to give up, and I don't even want to say give up, because if you feel like it's not right for you, that's totally fine. But if you're just feeling frustrated by that journey, you can remind yourself of how good breastfeeding is for your body. That can fortify your determination to do it. So these are a few of the benefits. It can lower your baby's risk of SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. It can lower the baby's risk of developing childhood leukemia, stomach viruses, lower respiratory illnesses, ear infections, and even meningitis. It can also decrease their chances of developing allergies and becoming obese. It provides really regular helpings of vitamins, nutrients, other disease-fighting substances that can actually act as like immunizations during the first few months of the baby's life. It can improve cognitive development, and it reduces your chances, mama, of developing ovarian or breast cancer. So really, really good for your baby. Something else that's really amazing about breast milk is that your milk ducts, they have sensors that take in baby's saliva and essentially like analyze them to figure out what baby needs more of. And then your body creates custom breast milk that supports the baby and gives them exactly what they need. And if you're exposed to pathogens, your body takes that on and creates milk that helps to protect the baby from those pathogens. So the body is like a miracle worker when it comes to producing milk. And finally, know that there is no shame in stopping. If you've gotten all the support, you've tried these tips, and breastfeeding is causing you more stress than benefits, of course you have every right to stop and go to formula. You have to do what's right for you and your family. All right, sending you so much love. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below.